I don't know what the opening is. Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the NEC Illuminati, the delayer of shipments, the procrastinator of pruners, my YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar_games. But that's not all. I'm also joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over. The man up to his prime popped and he refuses to stop. The Twilight Knight, the master of mech, the three-pump jump of taking the show off the rails, Nate. How you guys doing?
This week we're sponsored by Liquid Death.
Not a sponsor. Pay us.
Tasty treat. Tastes so sweet.
I'm good.
There we go.
It's just water, but I guess it's sweet.
Yeah, water is tasty. We're also brought to you by
that threw me off, the Liquid Death
Walmart
stuff.
water.
My girlfriend took me to a concert, and I was like, "Well, I don't drink, so like, do they have water or anything?" She's like, "Yeah," and they handed me this can. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
It's alcoholic water.
Yeah, it was Liquid Death.
Oh yeah, good stuff. The carbonated stuff is better, I think. I like the carbonated one. It's the black can. I like that one.
Nice.
It is a lot of different flavors now too. Like they just keep popping up. It's crazy.
Yep.
So refreshing.
Yep.
Also not sponsored by Liquid
not
Death.
sponsored
It's like
at
we
all.
just went straight into the ad sponsorship.
Not sponsored yet. So this week, if you clicked on this video, you already know what it's about. You wouldn't know by the intro because I had nothing clever to come up with, unfortunately, for this.
Oh, we're not going to read it through that?
Oh no, I decided to roll with it.
Okay.
That's gonna be that's canon now.
Fair enough.
Hey, we are gonna be discussing the Valaverse announcements. Well, some of them from JoeFest, which if you're watching this when it comes out, which was about 2 weeks ago at this point. So it's a bunch of new figures and stuff, but the main things I want to discuss, number one is the Vanguard, because we've discussed a lot of 6-inch scale vehicles over the past year, and I'm also a big fan of said 6-inch vehicles, 6-inch scale vehicles. So he finally kind of showed off better look at the prototype, what it's going to include, and a price point. He also announced that as of right now, he thinks it's going to be like a desert sand like tan, but he may put up a poll for people to vote between like that, green, or black. I hope he does a poll because I really prefer to have it in black because I think that'd look a lot cooler. But it does come with quite a bit. So just like from the start, it's going to have rubber wheels. He says it can fit up to 10 figures. It's going to have a removable hatch that you can switch out for a roof turret. Removable doors. It's going to have a removable like gun arm mount that you can put on in the trunk, or you can put up on the turret circle barrel thing. At me in the comments. I don't know what it's called. It's going to have muzzle flashes, a tow hook, a couple gas cans, and a driver figure. And then it also is going to have a gear pack you can buy separate that you can get instead of the turret. You can have a rocket launcher that will have its own like missile effects, kind of like the HasLab helicopter does. So it comes with quite a bit, especially compared to like other offerings that are out there. So compared to the things that we've gotten for HasLabs and from Super 7 and from NECA, what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, we can peel back the curtain a little bit. We were kind of discussing this, and you mentioned it again. I don't know about the 10. It seems like I don't know the price. I don't know if that's what you're revealing.
Well, no, I'm going to wait to do the price until after we discuss it.
$299 or something, but like it seems pretty cool about like with everything that is included in it. I think embellishment is a little bit, unless this is kind of like a normal thing when you say 10 figures in there, because I almost feel like that's like we can do more than what anyone else can hold.
Mm-hmm.
But like you mentioned, like in the trunk, and I'm like, I mean, does that really count?
Well, I mean, if you look at the pictures, it looks like the trunk opens like a hatch, and then it looks like it has those little like almost like a bench on the side where like the wheel.
So you're thinking like 5 more figures could almost fit?
Well, no, because you have to think
like
if you've got the turret on there, you've got driver's seat, passenger seat, 3 in the back seat, so that's 5. 1 in the turret, that's 6. So if it can fit 4 people in the trunk, that's 10.
Sure. I don't know. That's just a weird thing to throw out there of being like we can fit 10 people in there. But overall, it looks pretty cool. I'm with you. Like a black would probably be cooler, and I'm more so just speaking for you, just because like of what you would want to use it for.
Yeah.
But that's probably like my biggest thing. But
yeah, I could always paint it black if I wanted to, but that's so much
true.
more
But
effort.
you didn't want to paint the canopy on the Batmobile, so.
Well, I also didn't want a Batmobile that wasn't in scale, so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But I'm interested to hear more about what you guys feel, just because obviously this is a line that you're like.
I see. Yeah, like I've kind of like really started enjoying this line over the past 6 months to a year or so. Nate, from a G.I. Joe Classified standpoint, and also I know you have some Valaverse stuff. Where do you stand on it?
I think it's great. And before anybody comes at us with the fact that, yes, Hasbro, when they do vehicles, has to license it, although not in G.I. Joe or something like that, but, Super 7 and all that. This is an actual licensed manufacturer
vehicle.
Truck, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually licensing it from the manufacturer.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's not as expensive as an IP, but it's got to be kind of expensive. I think the price point. I know what the price point is. I won't spoil it. All right, I won't mention it. I won't mention anything about the price point. I'll move away from that. I think it's a great idea. I think one of the things that not only is helpful overall, just a healthy competition, but when other companies are supplementing the things that we want in other lines, everybody kind of wins, because a smaller company gets a break and they get to release something really, really cool that people are excited about. And a bigger company that doesn't want to take the risk of putting something like that out and putting it at retail and things like that, they don't have to bother with it. This isn't really look or resemble any type of like G.I. Joe vehicle per se. It's more of a standard realistic military style vehicle, which is awesome in itself. And it really spruces up a setup, So yes, 6-inch scale vehicles are big. They take up a lot of space. So you do have to pick and choose. This isn't going to be for everybody, but that's okay too.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge fan of the overall design of it. But then again, it's based off a real vehicle, so like I get it.
Right.
I almost wish it was a little more boxy versus looking more sporty, but I still think it's really cool. I also can't get over the fact, like, because he showed this off a few months back, but like in the back seat they actually have cup holders in the thing. Like that's how detailed the interior is.
Wow.
So like the attention to detail is really cool for me. I'm probably gonna get it, just like regardless of what color he goes with. I am excited to see how it turns out, especially because since the price point as well. To compare it to other things in that category. And
I think this actually goes better with you than with me. Although I'm tempted to get it. I don't know. But this is a little more all-purpose. This is a little more, it's not a G.I. Joe vehicle. It's not Marvel. So with a real-world look, it can serve a lot of different purposes. So that's really, really cool. And then I can't wait. I'll probably just wait and buy it off you. But
every episode.
I hate you so much. But that's fair. So, Jarmar, since you're the odd man out here, how much do you think this is?
Well, based on like my expertise being on every episode that we talk about different 6-inch scaled vehicles, and the way you guys are talking about this, I'm gonna go with it. It's like sub 200, like it's like maybe 200, like 175, something like in that area where it almost seems too good to be true. But if I was like just giving you a legit like amount, we had the what's the copper called? Or the chopper, Thunderbird,
the Dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
That was what? That was
That was 275.
275.
or 275. So
His tank
I
was
could
300.
imagine that it's around the same. Like
Turtle
maybe
Van
250.
was 250.
I'm
I
guessing
forgot about
250, but I wouldn't be shocked now because of the way you've kind of so.
Yeah, we did spoil it a little bit.
Yeah.
So he announced he hasn't solidified the price because he has to like price a few more things out, but it's gonna be between 175 and 190.
Yeah.
So he got it down under 200, which was crazy to me, especially considering like he still has to pay the licensing fee to this other company, and I can't imagine he's gonna be making a huge amount of these because as the Halos Labs have shown, there's a market, but it's not a massive market.
Yeah.
Right.
So like I gotta wonder, like, is this like more so him trying to just stick it to Hasbro, or are his costs really that low?
Yeah, I mean, what I forgot already. The Dragonfly. That was at like 11,000 or 12,000 like backers or something like that.
As of right now, it's just under 13,000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a lot. But that's still like a very small amount.
Yeah.
So like even if this
considering
would
there's
do, like,
billions of people
half-
on the planet.
Yeah. But like even if it did like half, that's still a very small
Mhm.
kind of like run. So that's kind of a good point of like what's going on here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, could it just be the different material? I guess we don't really have an idea.
I mean, it could be a number of things. Could be the factory he's using.
Mm.
It could legitimately be just that we're getting, taken to the cleaners by these big companies this entire time,
Sure.
and they're like, "Oh, we could sell the Hell Charger for $100, but we're not going to." Like, there's a number of things that it could be. So I am genuinely curious of the logistics behind it, just because I knew he was gonna try to keep under 200. I didn't think it was plausible when he told us. I was sitting there, I'm like, no, it's gonna have to be at least 250. And especially when he showed how detailed it was on the inside, I'm like, oh yeah, man. Especially with some of these other third-party companies that are just making a charger with no like extra accessories for like 175. I'm like, no way he's gonna be able to keep it under 200. But he found a way.
Interesting.
So
yeah, I mean, it's very possible he might not be making anything off of it. It could be more of like a lost leader,
Mhm.
in hopes of drumming up,
Getting you into the line.
Yeah.
yeah,
Trying to be
And
the
bringing
champion of
in-
the people and get people
yeah,
invested.
yeah, and get customers that may not have took a chance on something like this, but because it's that price point, they're like, I just was looking for a reason to spend $200.
Especially because I couldn't get this giant Gomez mech.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Is
This isn't gonna be like any kind of like
Not crowdfunded.
HasLab
No.
esque?
He's gonna do
like
pre-orders. He
probably,
even
like,
even
made to order,
said the
essentially.
possibility of doing an exclusive to do a different color at some point if it does well. But yeah, it's not crowdfunded. He's gonna do pre-orders on it. I don't know if the pre-orders will be made to order, or if there are gonna be like he's gonna order a certain amount and still do pre-orders just to help fund it, or what. But he's just coming out the gates swinging with it. He's not gonna do like, oh, well, if it doesn't hit this amount, we don't get anything or anything like that. Like, it's happening. As assuming nothing tragic happens between now and whenever he goes into production. So
it's a bold move, Cotton.
It is.
We'll see how it pays off.
Yeah, I hope it pays off well for him, because it's great to see. I mean, granted, he has a lot less. Not necessarily, I guess overhead costs would be the right word, because he doesn't have as many employees as like a Hasbro does. So he doesn't have as many mouths to feed.
Sure.
Versus some of the other companies, so he doesn't have to worry about all that. So maybe that could also be a factor in how he's keeping it at a lower price point. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens with it. I'm very curious to see it in hand, because I'm super excited. I love me some vehicles, and especially something that's kind of evergreen like that I can just be like, it's a SWAT team SUV. Like, let's go. The next thing I want to talk about before we go to his price changes, he has talked multiple times about getting a new IP, that he was going to start making some figures that were based off another company's property. He said the original IP that he was looking at, the person in charge of it pretty much ghosted him and backed out.
That's nice.
So he went and found someone else. So he is making. I think Nate probably knows about this. I don't know if Jarmar does, but the last movie Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, made before he passed away was called White Dragon. And it's essentially, it looks a lot like a Power Ranger movie. Like he's in the same type of like costume and stuff like that. So he's going to be making figures for that, which there should be a photo in there for you guys as well. In the drive of, he's doing a white dragon and a red one, I think are the names, something like that. And they're both going to have the actors' likenesses, so you can do an unmasked head. I think it's really cool. I feel like it's going to work out well for him just because of the popularity of JDF, if anything else. Because obviously the movie hasn't come out yet, so.
Okay, I was like,
it
doesn't say it's out.
Yeah, there's a trailer for it, I think, but yeah, it hasn't. I think it's coming out this summer. So to kind of be like, yeah, I want to do a toy line of that without knowing if the movie's going to do well is a bold strategy. But I think the popularity of Jason alone will do well, and especially with his passing and this being like the last thing he does. So I think it'll be a safe bet either way. The figures look really cool though, especially because like the costume designs look great.
I'm looking at photos of it just to kind of familiarize myself with the property, as opposed to just like the photo on there. It does look cool. Yeah,
it looks like a combination of like if you took the White Ranger and the Green Ranger and it didn't turn out to be that Lord Draken character from the comics.
That's fair. And the very small, I mean, it's just because it's obviously like pre-production and renders and whatnot. But when it's really small, it kind of looks like a super Black Panthers.
A little bit, because it does have like a darker grayish,
yeah,
rather than like a bright white to it. Nate, you are very quiet down there.
Oh, I was just letting you guys talk about it. I think it's a great idea, honestly. Because this kind of, it falls on the line of fan film. I mean, it's a step above fan film, but this is not
it's an
major
indie film.
Theatrical release. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's perfect. And like what you said, the fact that this is going to appeal to Power Ranger fans. This is going to appeal to people who were big White Ranger and Green Ranger fans, and specifically then fans of Jason David Frank. So yeah, it's a really smart move because he's essentially making a Power Ranger figure without making a Power Ranger, and it doesn't have to deal with that whole mess, So yeah, I think this is a great step for them. They've got a licensed property. Yeah, it's not, Avatar or anything like that, but it doesn't need to be. He's not that kind of company. And this is a great stepping stone. This is, I mean, back in the day, NECA used to do really, really small and bizarre things because that's what they could afford. And, those got them, that got them to be very popular. Yeah. So it's a perfect plan.
I agree. It's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door of doing licensed stuff versus, strictly your own thing. And that, like, even just the articulation of the figures look pretty good. Like, I have a feeling if these do really well, I can see him being like, I did Power Rangers better than Hasbro does.
I also have to just throw that in there too. Like, it probably wasn't like a super expensive license either. Just because it is basically no one knows the value of it maybe yet. So
well,
like,
that, and I don't think there was.
A good way to...
if he wasn't doing them, I don't know if there would be like action figures unless it was like something like a 1/6 scale like company doing them or something like that.
Yeah, it just makes sense of like, yeah, I'll take this, and it may basically just be like, yeah, you can have it, sort of thing. So that's a cool thing to have. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna repeat what you guys just said, but it's cool to just have that under your belt, and then also kind of explore how everything rolls that way.
So the last thing that he talked about, and this one what?
No, I was just saying it looks cool. Like, there's other shots that I've seen, not of just necessarily the figure, but the movie.
Still looking at the movie.
The suit looks really cool. Actually.
It does.
It's pretty fucking cool.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw the trailer for it, I thought it was like some sort of like new Power Ranger show or something. I'm like, wow, this looks real dark. And then like I'm like, oh no, it's basically like a Power Ranger ripoff, but like it looks cooler. Like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if Power Rangers was made for, grown ups. I mean, I don't want to say adults because it's not like it's not like a
Not
porno
for
or anything, but like yeah,
Kind of like that. What'd they do? The Broken Grid like fan like videos from YouTube. Have you guys not seen those?
No, I
'Cause
don't think. What are
there's
they?
like a fan film that like was broken up into a series on YouTube where it has like this great like Power Ranger war and a lot of
Oh,
the
Talking about
original actors were in it.
Ari,
oh
right?
yeah,
Is
I
that
do
what
remember
the?
this.
Hmm?
Yeah, keep going. I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like that would have been a great Power Ranger movie, but like I get why Hasbro would never do it because they want to market to kids to get the money going. Because us
we
old
buy
folk,
toys too.
yeah, but we just want the
I'm
original Power
joking.
Rangers. We don't give a shit about any new stuff.
That's true.
So yeah, the last thing he talked about, and this one honestly, as much as I love the Vanguard, this was the most interesting to me, given the way the past couple years have gone. So he announced that he has to make some price changes. And we live in a world right now where Hasbro had hiked up their prices and the prices were all over the place and they're starting to like solidify around that $25 range instead of being like 27, 28, 34 hike. McFarlane, I don't think he's officially done it, but I believe he said he's going to have to raise his to $22 here soon. Then there was somewhere else that's another company that I thought did price increases too, because I know like all of them did like mild ones. We just know Hasbro was the most outrageous of them. Mattel's done. Has Mattel done like a lot of price increases with like Motu?
Not really.
Because they've done it a little bit with the wrestling line, like the Ultimates. I think went up like $2.
Yeah, the Masterverse seems to be pretty. Now, Origins has slowly crept up because I think they're almost $20 now, and they were under 15 when they started. So I think Masterverse is still that $19.99 or $22.99, depending on where you get them. But they have been releasing more like deluxe or a little bit bigger figures for that $34.99 price point.
Mm-hmm.
The value's there, but it is a higher price point for what you're getting. But what I get for $34.99 in Masterverse differs greatly with what I'm getting from Hasbro for $34.99 or more.
Yeah.
So
100% fucking preach. So with all these companies raising prices, I'm going to give you guys what the prices were for the three types of products he offers, and I want you to guess what the new prices are. Nate probably already knows, don't you?
I actually don't.
Okay, good. So the gear packs, so that's the little accessory packs that come with like different things. Yep. Those were $12.99. The individual troopers that come bare bones, you get like set of hands, a head, and a gun, no armor or anything like that. Those were $22.99. And the core figures, which are the ones that come with everything, those ones are $31.99, or were $31.99. I want you guys to each guess what you think the new prices are. We'll start with the gear packs.
I'm going to say $14.99.
Jarmar?
That's what I was thinking. Probably like getting it right under $15. Unless you're going to say, they're all the same.
So you both are going with $14.99?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we mark that down. All right. So what do you guys think the trooper packs are now?
$24.99.
I feel like we are getting to say, because they're just going up just a bit. Like, was that like $3?
That would be that'd be $5, or no, yeah, that would be $3. Sorry, or $2.
Yeah, 21.
They're $22.99, so yeah, it's $2.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking the increase on each one of these. This is my guess.
So you're agreeing with the $24.99.
I'm agreeing with them, but it's only just like a couple dollars.
Core figures $31.99. What do you think the new price is?
$34.
Yeah.
All right, prepare to have your minds blown, boys.
It's 50 cents.
The gear packs are now $11.99.
What?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. What was it originally?
$12.99.
So wait, that's not a price increase.
I said price change. I never said increase.
Oh, okay, that's fair. You did say that.
The troopers are now $19.99. Originally $22.99.
Wow.
And the core figures are dropping from $31.99 to $29.99.
Okay, so what's
same logic you had, just in reverse, essentially.
What's the reason?
So his reason behind this is the line has grown substantially over the past year. So he's been ordering significantly more from the factories, so his costs are going down. And since he, is big on like being for the people, for the customers, for the fans, he is sending that savings on to the customer rather than increasing his prices and maximizing his profit.
That's pretty awesome. Get this guy the turtle license.
Not gonna lie, I would love to see what he would do with the turtles. Like that would be interesting.
Cool thing. Like, I mean, it is different being like, I would say we would consider Valaverse like indie, right?
Yeah, they're still new. They're brand no means like a big name like McFarlane or Hasbro or anything like that.
It's just that's kind of like a cool way to put your name out there. I always like to bring other relevant perspectives in here because I'm not like just a toy expert like you guys, but there's a company by the name of like OnePlus that most people probably have no real clue of who they were.
I'm guessing it's a children's toy line.
No, it was a phone manufacturer.
Oh.
That's what it's a phone manufacturer.
Oh, I didn't hear the phone part, sorry.
That was their name to fame of like offering these same like great phones with the same features and everything, but at that lower cost. And that reason was, look, we don't spend a lot of money on marketing. We're going to let you guys save the money and you become a fan of that brand. So like they had fans of the brand, not like just someone who likes their phones.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they're kind of going the same approach of like, yeah, we want you guys to be customers, but we also want you to be a fan of the brand and become more invested into it. This is like a really smart thing to do because it makes me want to buy something and I don't even have an interest, but it's just making those kind of gut moves are like those are very welcomed as opposed to just being like, yeah, get fucked, guys. I'm making more money. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, especially I think my favorite part of it is, Todd went on and on about like he's going to hold out to raise his prices as long as possible. And then Bobby shows up and is like, well, you're raising your prices, I'm lowering them. So like he held out the longest and he went the opposite direction. So it's really is impressive and like good on him for taking that initiative to pass on the savings to his customers rather than just like, oh, I'll just keep them at the same price or I'll raise the prices or whatever.
No, making double. Yeah.
Because he could have just as easily been like, hey, costs have gone up, as you guys know, and raised them $1 each. And everyone would have been like, oh, that sucks, but oh well. But instead, he was like, no, here you go, guys.
I do want to throw out that this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in anybody's pocket or anything. But is this necessarily a great choice?
I mean, it is a risky choice. I will say that from a business standpoint, it is a very risky choice because this does one of two things as well. One, obviously, you're taking money out of your own company's pocket. So while you are building that loyalty with your fan base, collectors aren't loyal to the T. I mean, there's a small group that are for each fandom, but for the most part, they will drop you like nothing once you've wronged them. And
you and Mesco, when
the day comes that he has to raise prices, that things change and he has to go the opposite direction. He's while he's the champion of the people now, will those people stick around is the question.
Yeah, it's very true.
Because I've seen it across as our all toy
financial
lines.
Expert.
Yeah.
What do you think of the deal? No. After,
I agree with everything you guys have said. And then looking at that, is it the right move? Listen, there's no way that he can keep it at that price point forever. So eventually it's going to have to go up, and it's going to have to go up maybe a couple of bucks. But at the same time, it could potentially still be under what it originally is. Yeah, the company's making a few more dollars now, and then everybody kind of wins. I could see that. I could see for the next year holding these price points, and then they increase a little bit, and it doesn't sting as much. So
That's true. If he did it gradually, where it's like every year or two it went up $1, it would definitely subside that. It's just still a huge risk because we've seen it with Super 7, NECA, Mezco, imports, playmates.
Yeah.
Like you have some people who are diehards, they will fall on whatever sword and they will like tout you no matter what terrible product you put out. But then there's people on the other side of the spectrum who it's like, oh no, I'm done here. Like we saw it with Hasbro. With the stuff they pulled a couple of years ago or last year, like it was a night and day difference for them.
yeah, but they also did some. I mean,
They did a lot of crummy stuff, but I'm just saying,
like
it was just like a domino after domino after domino thing because like they kept losing people progressively because they kept doing stuff. But it was still like that initial like, the price hikes alone.
I just don't see this as a bad move for the fans, even if it has to increase again. I still think that it's the right move. He's very transparent about what things are. So when that price increase does come, I don't think that it'll really piss a lot of people off because he took it back for as long as he could, and really ultimately, like you said, he didn't have to do that to begin with.
Yeah.
So any little bit of savings, yeah, that's going to earn a bit of loyalty, even if nothing else, maybe you don't continue to collect the figures. But just like Jarmar said, you're going to remember that. And then when something does come up, that maybe you are interested in them, you're going to be like, yeah, that's a good company. I do want to get involved in that more. So
that's fair. Like I said, I'm here all for it. I think it's a great way to, as Jarmar said, build fans of the brand, not just of the toy line. It gets people invested, especially if you're planning to branch out and do more licensed things. Then in that case, those people might also be like, well, I may not be as interested in Power Rangers or this White Dragon movie, but because I love this line and he treats us so well, I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Or the next thing he does. So yeah, you're 100% right. It's a good move overall, and I'm always very wary about that kind of stuff because it just seemed like I don't trust people, so I just assume everyone's gonna turn on you at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys turn on me every Wednesday during the live stream right after we get done recording here. So
yeah, we're all friendly during this, and then the live stream, like fuck you.
Like I can imagine like people who don't tune into the live stream that just watch the podcast think we're the best of friends, and then they tune in one time to the live stream, and they're just like, Jesus, they bully the hell out of him for an hour.
That's also very untrue.
I mean, is it bullying?
According to Linda, it is.
When it's deserved.
I wouldn't say it's deserved. Sometimes it's deserved, but not often. Sometimes
sometimes.
Oh man. Well, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts and feelings are. Are you excited about the Vanguard? Are you thinking about picking one up? Do you plan on investing in the White Dragon line? How do you feel about the price changes? Do you think it's a good idea? Are you worried that maybe it might bite him, in the ass later on? Let us know down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Helps us out here at the channel, gets you a bunch of toy-related content in your feed. And of course, if you are a fan of the channel, you can head over to patreon.com/Modern Toy Fair, where we have a bunch of different tiers with different rewards, where you can get things like physical prints of the photos I take for the reviews. You can be a guest on the live stream. You can get episodes of the podcast early. You eventually get exclusive episodes of the podcast. So tons of different options. Check that out. Link in the description below. You can also head over to tpublic.com/Modern Toy Fair with a bunch of different shirts with our logos on them, different inside jokes from the live streams. Make sure to check out the live stream Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can check Jarmar out over at metal.tv/Jarmar Games. And Nate, what do you have for us this week?
Well, this week we have a new podcast coming out. This comes from the brain of Sukmote, which I believe is Canadian, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This new show, we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. It's called Hanging It with Nate, and it's all about if you love hanging it out. If you just love relaxing and hanging out and just hanging it all out, this is the show for you. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you can hang your collectibles from the ceiling to maximize all your space.
Alrighty then.
Really letting it all air out
Yeah.
there on that
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
Sounds pretty good.
you gotta let it hang. You know, hang it all out.
Just not too low, you know.
Yeah.
Don't want any accidents.
You don't want to hit your head on it.
You know what? Is it wobble to and fro? I don't know.
Oh man. Well, hopefully see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fairy channel. Thank you for watching.
Oh wait, is this? Or is this? I don't know what to do.
Are you throwing up gang signs now? What's going on? Are we playing peekaboo?